You're listening to Interactive Wrestling Radio, featuring the Interactive Interview, courtesy of WrestlingEpicenter.com.
So what you gonna do?
Let me talk to you, dummies.
Oh, yeah.
You're where it's at.
If you're smart like me, you gotta listen.
And if you don't listen to it,
I'll come out of your computer and body slam your ass.
Don't be a Melvin.
I will scar you. Open your third eye.
Woo! It's gonna be cool.
Oh, what a rush.
It's showtime!
We had a lovely conversation.
To the interactive interview. Interactive wrestling radio.
The Epicenter.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to this week's Impact Wrestling Media Teleconference. We're going to kick it off with, I believe Josh is on the line. Josh, are you there?
Josh, you got a cold or something today?
I do. I apologize on that there, Josh, but a little bit of cold, so we'll give it right to you. Give the ball to Josh Matthews and let him run with some Impact updates.
Well, how do I know who this teleconference is sponsored by? If you have a cold?
You'll get that momentarily.
Ross, it's always so good to talk to you, but it's even better to talk to media from around the world on this beautiful Thursday. It's starting to feel like football weather here in these parts of the world. Tonight we got an all-new Impact. I am excited to hear Brian Cage speak for the first time tonight. You also got Falaba and KM versus the Desi Hit Squad. Eddie Edwards is going to kick off the show tonight. Kiera Hogan will face Alicia Edwards, excuse me. I got Kiera's name right, and I messed up Alicia's. LAX is going to celebrate their victory after winning the street fight last week, defeating the OGs, getting their championships back. LAX is going to celebrate tonight. Also tonight, before I get to, Matt Sydal will be in action, and then for the first time ever on national network television, the Mexican death match between Sami Callihan and Pentagon Jr. This match is so dangerous that they moved, Don Callis and I, our announce tables moved from the ringside area up to the top of the stage for tonight. So expect a violent, bloody affair between Sami Callihan and Pentagon Jr. So that's happening tonight. For those of you that may or may not have seen yesterday, we rolled out our Bound for Glory VIP packages that were supposed to go on sale Saturday. We had to do some tests yesterday, so we put them up for a little while, and within 3 or 4 minutes, we sold quite a few packages. And with that being said, we said, hey, we're the most fan-friendly wrestling company. These are supposed to go up on Saturday, but people are waiting, clamoring for them. Let's just leave them up. So they are available right now, and I can tell you this, as of right now, we will add more, but as of right now, there are only 6 left of those VIP packages that retail for $3.99, and we have so many great things lined up for our VIP fans for Bound for Glory weekend. You may or may not have seen that Legends of the Ring, we're going to be a part of that on Saturday, a huge wrestling convention in Monroe, New Jersey. And then we're working on a few other things, some special events on Saturday. On Monday, I'm working with, Ross doesn't even know this, Sam Roberts, who you guys probably know, wrestling journalist. I think everyone who wins their championship match at Bound for Glory is going to go into Midtown Manhattan and talk to Sam about their matches and working on the details of that. But I'm pretty confident that will happen. So that's going to happen the Monday after Bound for Glory. We've got Impact Mexico right around the corner, September 13th and 14th. We've got Las Vegas in November. So obviously a lot of big things are happening in Impact right now as we race towards the end of this year and get ready for next year. But I think there's so many just some fun things happening that we can all look forward to at the end of 2018. I mean, MediaCon happening in Manchester and all the matches that are taking place there. Those first-time ever matches, Jimmy Havoc versus Sami Callihan. It's like a barbed wire, crazy baseball bat match now. That's going to be thrilling. The Chris Jericho Cruise, LAX versus the Young Bucks. I mean, I can go on and on. All this information of course, is available at ImpactWrestling.com. And just get ready for what we have in store coming up the rest of 2018. With that said, if anybody has any questions, Ross, I'll take a few now before we get to your prestigious guest this week.
All right, but, just in case you forgot, Josh, the Impact Wrestling Media Teleconference live stream is presented by Pluto TV. Watch over 100 channels of movies, news, sports, and more completely free on any streaming device. Download the app today. Pluto TV is free TV.
You know why that you made me wait for that, right?
I always try to make you wait.
I know why. It's because you forgot about the read and you were scrambling to look for the card that you wrote that information on.
No, that's not the truth. But we will open it up for some questions for Josh at this point. Any questions directly for Josh Matthews? Star 6 to get in queue, and please limit to one question only. Identify yourself and your media outlet.
Q&A session has started. To ask your question, please press star 6.
This is Ian Carey from SE Scoops. Josh, you're going to be traveling a fair bit next month. You're going to be both in the UK and you're going to be in Mexico. I'm wondering what you think the differences are going to be between the two live crowds.
Well, I've been to both the UK and Mexico in the past for wrestling shows, and I think that the great thing about wrestling fans is despite our cultural background differences, I think at the end of the day, we're all fans of the sport. And I know the fans in the UK have always been great to Impact, and they're excited for us to return in September. So I think there'll be a great crowd. And this is the first Wrestling Media Con. So as we kind of move through the waters of putting this all together, everyone's just excited, and I think it's a great opportunity to get back over to Manchester. Manchester is a city that we absolutely love, and the same thing goes for Mexico. Impact has never broadcast from Mexico before, so it's going to be great. The last time I was there for WWE when we were there for Raw and SmackDown, and then I went to Triple Mania, I believe it was Triple Mania, a couple of years ago with AAA. And if it wasn't Triple Mania, it was a AAA show, and they treated us great, and I look forward to going back.
Great. Thank you.
Hey, Josh. This is Anirban from Sportskeeda. Okay, so there are rumors of Jericho coming to Impact Wrestling. Can you confirm or deny this?
I can't do either because, anything's possible in wrestling, and anything's possible in today's wrestling scene for sure. If I were to confirm it, I would be lying, and if I were to deny it, I'd be lying. I can't say either way. If it were to happen, would I be surprised? Not really. I would be thrilled if it happened, but I think that if you look at everything and the involvement that we have with the Jericho Cruise and all of that, I think that all signs point to hopefully, as a fan, that something will happen.
Hi, Josh. This is Nick Hausman with WrestleZone. Thanks so much for taking the time today.
Of course.
I was wondering, is there any chance you guys will be doing a Bound for Glory series tournament this year leading into it?
This year, no. I don't think there's any plans to do that, but there are some plans to bring back some things that I think the fans will really like. So I'm going to just throw that out there and leave it at that.
Okay, awesome. Thanks so much, Josh.
Yep.
Hey, Josh, how you doing? This is Jeff Martin from the High Spot Podcast and highspotpodcast.com. Of course, you guys, Bound for Glory is coming back to, into New York. How important is it for you guys when you're evaluating certain markets that you guys want to, do something in New York and get that market of like New York and Philadelphia and Connecticut? How important is that for you guys when you're looking at where you wanted to, put this event on?
Well, I'm so biased because I spent 13 years living in New York, so to me, it's like my second home. So to be able to go back and to go back with Impact and to use all the contacts and the resources it's one thing to ask Ross and I to put together some events in Ottawa where neither of us have probably spent much time, but, to be able to do events in New York and things like that, it just makes it easier. And then, it's the greatest city in the world, and to be able to have our show from there, and then to be able to extend it to, we're going to go into Manhattan, and we're going to bring the talent there, and we're going to try to probably most likely stream those events when they go there. We're going to go to MediaCon to Legends of the Ring in New Jersey, and just be able to stretch and reach and do those things throughout the weekend. I know that without giving too much detail, we're working on something special with Johnny Impact for a few days before Bound for Glory in New York. So all those things together, I think that at the end of the day, when it's all said and done on Wednesday, when the airplane's leaving and I'm looking at the Manhattan skyline in the background, I think we'll be very happy with what we produced and what we did over those 4, 5, 6 days.
Well, thank you.
Hey, Josh, this is Dick Fear from Ego Total Israel. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So Impact is global touring right now. Mexico taping is upcoming, and the England tour is upcoming. There is a chance on your behalf, or maybe the company behalf, that maybe in the near future, Impact will come to Israel and do a global tour, maybe tapings?
I think that'd be great. Obviously, I don't think anything. We shouldn't leave any stone unturned. So to come to Israel would be amazing. I would welcome that opportunity.
All righty, Josh. Well, I appreciate your time. I know the media does as well, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow in New York.
Yeah, listen, Ross, if you're sick tomorrow, send a proxy to come get me and drive me around. I can't be around sickness.
I'm fine, Josh. Don't worry about it. Got the top hat. We're all good to go.
Hey, real quick to that point, and then I know you guys want to talk. But tomorrow is, or of course Saturday is the day that tickets go on sale officially for Bound for Glory. That happens at 1 p.m. Eastern time. You can go to ImpactWrestling.com for all the details. And then if you're anywhere near Binghamton, New York, which is upstate, 3 hours away from the city, come and join us and come to our party at Peterson's Tavern at 12. That'll stream live on Twitch, and all the information is at ImpactWrestling.com. And also Saturday, if you're anywhere near Toronto, go check out the Destiny show, also featuring Impact. So 2 big shows this weekend for us as we move towards Bound for Glory. And with that said, Ross, I bid you adieu.
Goodbye, Josh. See you tomorrow. That said, let's welcome in our special guest for the week. I got to find him on the thing here to open up his phone line. Joe Hendry, welcome. Give me 1 second here. Joe Hendry, welcome to the Impact Wrestling Media Teleconference.
Joe Hendry! It's how you're supposed to say it, Ross. I will let you off on occasion.
If you'd like to ask a question, your request has been received.
Would be correct in that assumption.
All right, well, welcome to Impact Wrestling. You got to be thrilled to step in the ring now with, all the big guys now.
Well, yeah, I mean, joining Impact Wrestling, it's been a huge step in my career. It just feels like the right place at the right time. I couldn't be more thrilled. And, I can speak honestly and say that Impact have been amazing in letting me do what I do. And, I think what I've noticed since I've been there is there's a real element of working with the talent to bring out the best in us. And it's just been, we've been working hard, but it's just been fun. It's just been fun from the get-go. When everybody's having fun and working hard, you produce great stuff. And that's what myself and Grado and Katarina have been trying to do. And it's just been a blast so far. So it's been amazing to be a part of the roster thus far.
Well, no doubt, Joe. Everybody wants to know what's up with you, Grado, Katarina. What's going on there?
Well, I mean, I think it's just a celebration of platonic friendship. That's all it really is. I know there's some weird things being said online about myself and Katarina, but I can assure you we are just good friends.
All right. Well, we'll take you at your word for sure on that. Finally, I do want to ask you about Toronto. We finished up the tapings at Rebel Entertainment about 10 days ago, and the 13th was our final day there. Your thoughts of the Toronto tapings?
Well, again, that was a phenomenal experience for a number of reasons. One of them is I got to wrestle Tyson Dux, who's someone I've got a lot of respect for. We wrestled a match for Explosion. And we found out that day that we were going to get we were going to get the privilege of helping someone who's in a tough situation. There's an amazing young kid called Stephen. He's 7 years old, and he suffers from I'm going to try and pronounce this correctly, I think it's a Chiari malformation, which is basically a condition where the brain tissue extends into the spinal canal. So it's been a really, this kid's had a real tough time. Only 7 years old, and he just had like 2 back-to-back brain surgeries, and all he wanted was to, come along and be involved with Impact Wrestling. So what we did is, not only did he come down to the ring with me, we kind of did the ring entrance together, but he also, once the match was finished, he got to get in the ring and pin Tyson Dux as well, which was a lot of fun for him. And it was just, you have all these kind of landmark moments in your career where, I've had a lot of big things happen in my career, but that one was, one of the biggest for a different reason, because, when you're pursuing your goals and your dreams, you're kind of, you got this laser focus on what you want to achieve, but, moments like that just remind you the impact that you can have on young people and, people who need our help. And, it was amazing to just be a part of something, and it was a huge honor that Impact kind of trusted me with doing that. And Stephen had an amazing time, and it's hilarious. He asked me to autograph his shirt, so I autographed his shirt, and then he said, "Well, now that you've autographed my shirt, I'm going to have to autograph yours." So I've got a shirt with Stephen's writing on it here. Also, we're going to send them. I've got these knee pad covers. One of them's a Scotland flag, and another one's my logo, and I'm going to kind of sign them and send them off to him as well. We're going to send them some toys and stuff. But the main thing is we've been keeping in touch with the family, because I think what we want to do here is we don't want to just, have have this one amazing thing and just leave it at that. We've been, and myself, along with many other members of the roster, we've been keeping in touch with Stephen and Stephen's family along the way. So, it was a really sort of humbling experience, and I hope that, now that I've done this, I hope that's the tip of the iceberg for how not only can we perform at the highest level as professional wrestlers, but also how we can kind of give something back to our fans who need it,
Well, I will say to the media, if you have not seen a couple video footages of what Joe's talking about with 7-year-old Stephen, I know it's on Joe's social media. Please look for it. It's very special moments. That said, we'll move on to some media questions. So, media, if you have questions for Joe, *6 to get in queue. As mentioned, please, one question only, and identify yourself and your media outlet.
You may now ask your question.
Hey, Mr. Hendry, it's James from Wrestling Epicenter. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
You too.
All right. So one of my favorite things whenever you're listed on the card is to see what you're going to do with your entrance. And it's been a lot of fun. In particular, your more recent one with Eli Drake was hysterical, and I found myself humming it throughout the rest of the night. I just wanted to find out, the songs that you put together, is that a collaborative effort, or is that kind of from your brain alone?
Well, I think, as I was saying earlier, one of the cool things about the relationship so far is this is such a rarity, especially at this level of wrestling, but Impact have really kind of given me the creative space and the creative freedom to go away, and the fact that they trust me with these. So literally, with these entrances, all I have to do is show up with a file. I show up with a file, and that's what they're going to play. And to have that level of trust for, a television product of the quality of Impact Wrestling, that to me kind of speaks volumes about how serious Impact are about working with the talent. So as for those songs, I've been allowed to just go away and really, think about how are we going to entertain the fans? What's the best possible music video that I can produce to entertain the fans and live attendance and on television as well. The real challenge this time has been I've had to come away from parodies because, here's the thing, even though parody is protected under fair use, we didn't really want to get in any kind of issues with use copyright and things like that. So we were like, you know what, let's just do original songs. So thus far, we've 5 original songs are done, and we kind of took a step back and thought, well, actually, that's half an album right there, which gets us thinking. I'm not going to say any more than that, but it's definitely got us thinking about what we could do music-wise. So that's been a lot of fun. So I kind of do the songs, but when it comes to the stuff that we're doing on the show, there is a real collaborative process. And the cool thing about Impact Wrestling is everybody's involved. Like, I mean, when you think about I think that's one of the reasons that the company is moving in such a great positive direction, is that everybody's working together, everybody knows what everybody's doing, and everybody's chipping in to help everybody out. I mean, and that comes from a professional wrestling standpoint, but also from the segments and promos that we're doing as well. I mean, it would take me all day pretty much to sit here and go through every time that someone in Impact has helped me with something and helped me improve something and refine something. So I'd say the product is certainly a collaborative process. The songs, I'm taking care of those, but beyond that, it's a real collaborative process.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks.
Muted.
Hi, this is Ian Carey with SEScoops.com. Joe, you signed with Impact back. Hi. You signed with Impact back in May, and less than 2 months later, Anthem Sports and Entertainment launched the Fight Network in the UK, where, I don't know if you know this, you're something of a local hero. When you signed with Impact, were there any discussions concerning part of your role with Impact being to get more UK eyeballs on the product?
Well, I mean, I think that when a company signs a talent, there's a number of reasons why that can take place. And I think, Impact were very open about the fact when they did that. You may remember earlier in the year, they did a scouting tour of the UK to look at UK talent. And I guess one of the reasons is because, the UK has historically been such a stronghold for Impact Wrestling. It just makes sense to kind of reignite that and re-tap into that. And, if I can kind of help facilitate that, then that's a huge honor, because quite honestly, I've been following the product since 2003. So it's an honor to be here. But when basically how it all started was I was asked to meet with Scott, Don, and Ed, which right there, when you're being asked to meet with, 3 of the senior executives, and the fact that they're going to give you that time, there was no expectations on either side. They asked me to come down and just meet with them and see what I was about. They asked me what my goals were in wrestling, and I told them right there and then, as I would always say, and as I have since the first day I got into the business, I'm not here to make up the numbers. I'm here to be the world champion. I'm here to be number one in the business. And I felt that the Impact were really responsive to my work ethic, and I made it clear that I'm going to do whatever I need to do to progress and get to the next level, and whether it be the videos, the matches, my physique, whatever it is, I'm just here to work hard, and I want to commit 100% somewhere. And I think that they heard that. A few months went by, and then we got talking, because actually in between, I competed for Scotland in the Commonwealth Games. So that was, I was away in Australia for over a month. And then when I came back, we got going pretty quickly, and it's just been, it's been awesome so far. It's been, to be honest with you, when you dream of being a wrestler, this is really what it is. This is what I had hoped for. This is an environment where, everyone's treated well. We're all going out, we're doing our best, we're working together as a team, and it's just, hand on heart, it's a real positive place to be. And for me, the thing that gets me excited is when we get I got the sense that they were going to let me be me. They weren't going to try and make me change what I was doing. They were going to enhance what I was doing, and I feel that's what we've been able to do. And if, me doing that can help us, further build, this stronghold that, because historically that's what the UK has been for Impact, then, that would be, I'd be delighted about that. The more we can do in the UK, the better.
That's awesome. Thanks so much.
No problem.
Joe, go to a question here from Jamie Z, who would like to know if you could sing a duet on Impact with any living person, who would it be? And if you could sing a duet with someone on the roster already, who would it be?
Okay, so on the roster, probably Fala, because, I believe he's a man of few words. So, I just like to hoggle the attention. That's one option. Another one would be, you know what? I think me and Grado should do a collaboration. I think we should collaborate on a single. I think that'd be pretty funny. But you know what? I'm going to have to hark back to earlier in this call. If I could have a duet with any living person or a sing-off, if you will, I mean, who else can you say but Chris Jericho? That guy has really kind of, I guess, a huge influence for me. He showed, that wrestlers can be multifaceted and multi-talented. Someone that I've looked up to, I've already wrestled a lot of the wrestlers that I look up to, but Chris Jericho's on that list. So if you're asking me that question, I'm going to have to say I think a sing-off with Chris Jericho would get some numbers.
Hey, Joe, Mike Pankow from Windy City Slam. How are you doing today?
Hello. I'm doing well, thanks. Yourself?
I'm good. Question for you pertains to your background in the UK. A lot of guys have come through the UK over the years, like William Regal, Wade Barrett, guys like that. Any of those guys influential to you? And could you also talk about the influence of the UK product on wrestling around the world today?
Okay. Well, yeah, I do. I know both gentlemen. I think that and both have been hugely influential in my career, actually. And credit where credit is due. I think that William Regal has been really helpful to me whenever I've had the chance to kind of learn from him, whether it be at tryouts or things of that nature. He's very generous with departing knowledge to the younger talent, as is Wade Barrett as well. I think Wade Barrett is Stu Bennett, as he's now known as. It would be he's a huge acquisition for any company, and he's got that kind of main event experience where he can just, again, as a lot of the guys on the Impact roster do, they can just kind of step in for a second to, and speak to the younger talent like myself and go, have you maybe thought of doing this way? Stu Bennett has been great. I've had the privilege of working with him on many shows where he has provided, a lot of kind of help and influence for himself as well. So not only that, I've had the opportunity to learn directly from, I spent a lot of time in the ring with Robbie Brookside, with Marty Jones, even Johnny Saint. So I think also when you look at the style of wrestling nowadays, British wrestling is, to me, it's a beautiful style of wrestling. It's smooth, it's efficient, it's believable. British wrestling is really where it's at for me, and it's something. Hey, I'm still an absolute student of the game when it comes to that, and I'm hoping I can bring a little bit of that to Impact Wrestling. If that's something that I can bring that's maybe a little different, that's what I'm going to try to do. So I will never forget the influence that the UK has had on my wrestling career. It's one of the reasons why I've got my Scotland flag on my trunks. I've also got the England flag and the British flag because in freestyle wrestling I won both the English and the British championships. So I do have the British flag on my boots and on my trunks as well. And part of that is the homage to the influence that it's had on my career. I think it's a phenomenal style of wrestling, and it's something I look forward to. I'm always working away at it, but I look forward to showcasing it in Impact Wrestling.
Thank you, Joe.
No problem. Thank you.
Hi, Joe. It's Josh from Steelshare Magazine. How you doing?
Oh, well, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad at all. So we've seen you develop your character over time, obviously, whether that be the local hero in ICW, to the prestigious one in WCPW, or Defiant, as it's now known, to the Joe Hendry that we see today in Impact. What's it been like to combine the multiple parts of your persona that you've built over the years? And will we see more shades of the prestigious one in time to come?
Well, that's a great question. Thanks for that. I think basically what I tend to find in wrestling is when you introduce someone into wrestling, they start in a very kind of overt, over the top introduction, and then as time goes on you get to see the intricacies of their personality. And that to me was the change between the local hero to the prestigious one. So now I am the prestigious one, and that's very much an evolution, because the local hero, when people say that, they associate that with just the entrances, whereas I became the prestigious one after I wrestled Kurt Angle. I became the prestigious one when I won the British Freestyle Wrestling Amateur Championships. That I needed a name that was kind of. It was actually I got some great advice from some big names in the business who said, look, the local hero, it's never going to get beyond this point on the card. And as I said, I've always regarded myself as someone who's striving to be in the main event. That doesn't necessarily always have to be your role at every given second, but you need to be someone that is able to step into the main event at any given time. And I feel that the prestigious one, I can do the entrances and you incorporate the entertainment aspect. By any given moment, you can just, you can turn it on like a switch and you can become, you can increase the intensity and things like that. So, like I say, I've never, with regards to when we talk about character and things like that, all I can really do is, it's cliched, but it's so true. It's just, I'm most comfortable when I'm just really speaking the truth, but turning up the volume, And I'm saying that's what the prestigious one is. That's what I strive to be. And the main event is long term what I'm going for. So I think that what I've tried to be and what I've prided myself on is being one of the most well-rounded performers, and that's what I'm aiming to become. So we're showing, we're showing you you're getting to see the entrances, the custom songs and stuff like that. But just know at any given moment, you can see that more intense side of the prestigious one when the time calls for it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Good to speak to you.
No problem. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
You're going to switch to a two-part question. First from R.J. King, and the second half from Roger Craig. R.J. would like to know, what is your all-time favorite video game and why? And then we also want to know, have you ever played the old Impact Wrestling video games, and will you ever play it on prestigious Tuesdays?
Good question. Favorite all-time video game? That's a tough one. I think if I was forced to pick one, I think there's a difference between favorite and best. Just like there is all entertainment. Like your favorite doesn't necessarily what you would need to recognize as the best. As a kid, I liked the Sonic games. I still like them. I play them on the stream all the time on prestigious Tuesdays. But I think if you're asking me for the best game, my favorite, it's tough. That's really tough. It's either, I think, it's got to be one of the Sonic games or Final Fantasy VII or Metal Gear Solid 3. Those are pretty sensational. As for the old Impact Wrestling video game, yes, I have that. I have that in my possession for the GameCube. And once we get our hands on a capture card, I think, it would, once we hit a certain milestone, whether it be, doing prestigious Tuesdays for 3 months, 6 months, whatever, or a certain number, I think we should wheel out the old Impact Wrestling video game. And I'll probably play through it as I used to go Shark Boy, because why not? That's the thing about the Impact Wrestling video game. While the other wrestling games were super serious, I played a lot of other, like Fire Pro Wrestling, stuff like that. The Impact Wrestling game is just all kind of fun, and it was just a really, the control system was super responsive. The graphics were great for the time. It was a stacked roster. It was a great underrated video game, and I'd love to see another Impact Wrestling video game. But yes, I think we'll have to roll that out on a stream sometime soon.
Yes, hello, Joe. It's a pleasure to speak with you. This is Aaron Varble from Wrestling Inc. You are a great addition to the Impact roster with your master's degree in business and marketing and a decade with Sony Music. Is Impact Wrestling utilizing all of your abilities and possibly a backstage aspect?
Could you repeat that one more time? Sorry, there's a bit of interference on my end. Could you just repeat that one more time, please?
Sorry about that. I was just saying that you are multifaceted in and out of the ring with your master's degree in business and marketing and a decade under your belt at Sony Music. Is Impact Wrestling possibly utilizing your skills in a backstage capacity?
So first of all, I have to unfortunately dispel a mistruth, and that was for some reason, someone once said that I was signed to Sony for 10 years, and no matter how much I deny it, it just became the truth. Maybe I should just roll with it, But unfortunately, I was never signed to Sony. We went there and we met with two of the big executives at RCA, two of the top dogs at RCA, and became real close to doing a deal, but it didn't happen. I got offered an independent deal, which was going from another label, which was going to tie me down for 7 years. And, I love music, but it was my secondary dream, and I thought, am I going to tie myself down for 7 years, which would have taken me to 32 at the time, or am I just going to get going and do what I really wanted to do, which was pro wrestling, which thankfully I did because we're sitting right here, and I got 2 years to spare. I would be under that contract for another 2 years. But anyway, so that's the scoop on that one. But as for a backstage role, I think you have to, I've done commentary before. I've helped out backstage before in other companies. But for me, my focus is being an in-ring competitor. Not only that, we have got some of the best in the business working backstage. Again, I could go through everybody, but there's just so many great, phenomenally talented people working backstage, whether it's Sanjay or Jimmy Jacobs or Gil Kim or Abyss or, Eric and the production team. I'm going to miss people out, but just, trust me, Impact Wrestling has got it covered with decades of experience backstage. They don't need Joe Hendry singing. I'm best utilized as a talent at this point.
Thanks so much.
No problem. Thanks.
Hi, Ryan Bowman from thegorillaposition.com. We talk a lot about the growth. Hi, we talk a lot about the growth of UK wrestling in general, but Scotland specifically has really grown a lot in the last 5 years. Can you touch on how much the Scottish wrestling scene has changed since guys like you and Grado were first breaking in?
Well, actually, I've been really fortunate in that I started training in 2013. So I have been, I've been on shows coming up almost 5 years. So I've been really fortunate in that when I stepped into Scottish wrestling, that's when it really started to boom. One of the things that I think, there were some key things that I think really, really triggered it. And a few key people, actually people who are, one is on the Impact Wrestling roster right now and one is a former champion. Obviously, Grado's explosion in popularity certainly was a huge factor in the explosion of Scottish wrestling through ICW, but also when Drew Galloway was there, I feel that he was a real kind of locker room leader. And, I think he, being a former Impact Wrestling World Champion as well, just goes to show the caliber of talent that he was. He's one of the people that I learned most from, I think. So I think Grado certainly helped in get that sort of mainstream attention, but I think that Galloway really helped to kind of instill the right kind of locker room vibe backstage. And, he was our locker room leader. And I think having that in place, as well as the explosion in popularity, but as well as all the people who had been carrying the scene forward when, things weren't so hot. There were, a lot of the people who you see on shows still in Scotland were the ones that were carrying the scene forward. So I'm really, to be honest with you, I'm more a beneficiary from than, someone who was there early on. I've been very fortunate in when I came into wrestling. I'll never forget the hard work that went on before and also which is still going on today. Another thing is we've got really top quality training schools here as well. So the standard is just phenomenal. It's a great place to start wrestling.
Joe, we'll move to a question from Jerry P. He would like to know, who is your favorite football team?
Now, this is, I promised my dad that if I was ever asked this question, I would say Heart of Midlothian, which is Hearts, which is an Edinburgh team, which all my family love with all their heart, if you will, forgive the pun. But unfortunately, I never gravitated towards football or soccer, as it's called in America. It was just never for me. So much so that when my dad took me to a Hearts game, I was doing my maths homework while I was there because I didn't want to be, I was at a game I didn't want to be at, so I thought I might as well use this time effectively. So I preferred doing algebra to watching football, which is unfortunate for my family. But I promised them I would say Hearts. So I hope that's an acceptable answer.
Did you at least pass the algebra test?
Do you know what? I did at that point. I didn't have great grades for maths at the start of high school, but I pulled it back towards the end. Like we say, we got the business degree. That's all that matters. Let's focus on the big picture, Ross. Come on.
Hi, Joe. This is Anirban from Sportskeeda in India. So your singing gimmick is one of the best things in the wrestling world right now. Did any previous wrestler inspire you to adopt this gimmick?
That's a good point. I mean, I think it's one of those things where everyone has their influences for sure. I mean, my big influences, I'd say, again, it's probably you're talking about. So Kurt Angle was a huge influence for me, who again I had the chance to wrestle, which was a phenomenal experience. The Rock was the reason I kind of got into the business, and so I hope to kind of. The thing about The Rock is when people would say, when people wouldn't necessarily understand why I liked wrestling, I would show them one of his promos, and then they would understand. So I wanted to create content that could do the same. So I wanted to create videos that non-wrestling fans would find appealing. And actually, that was one of the things that was brought up to me when I was, it was discussed that I might come on board for Impact Wrestling, is that the executives had told me that someone they knew who didn't often go to indie shows had gone to one to see one of my entrances and were like, wait a second, if he's managed to drag you to a wrestling show, we need to see what this is. So it was actually, someone who didn't attend a whole lot of indie shows outside of their own work that they were doing had come to see me and had passed on that information to Impact Wrestling Management, which made them check out my videos. So that philosophy has really carried me to this point. So I'd say that The Rock from a sort of charisma point of view, Kurt Angle from an in-ring point of view and the intensity point of view, and he was one of the people that inspired me to get into freestyle wrestling, because I only started that at like 26, but I knew I needed to add that intensity level to my game to kind of, again, step into those main event slots. But also, again, Jericho's a huge influence as well, because, again, really showed that wrestlers can be multifaceted entertainers. There's obviously Ric Flair is a huge influence as well. Ric Flair was probably my main inspiration when I started doing the prestigious one, when I was charging people $100 for to get a picture with me within 3 meters and all that stuff. That was a definite Ric Flair influence there.
Well, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Hey, Joe, we've got multiple questions wanting to know your thoughts about facing Eli Drake at Wrestling MediaCon, and what other matches on the card are you looking forward to?
Okay, cool. Basically, obviously, one of the things that I think people have to give Impact Wrestling credit for now is the fact that they give the fans what they want to see. It's as simple as that. When it was announced that I was joining Impact Wrestling, you can look at the Twitter notifications. Every single one of them was like, you need to do Hendry versus Eli Drake. You need to do Hendry versus Eli Drake. And the very first taping, that's what they gave to the fans. And that, to me, really showed the love that we were just going to do that matchup because of fan suggestion. That, to me, said, this is a company that's given the fans what they want to see. So, and I think that's a confrontation that people were interested in seeing. So we've now had 2 matches. I won once, he won the other. So it looks like we're going to finally settle it on my home soil at Wrestling MediaCon, which is, I couldn't be more thrilled to be on the show when Impact comes back to the UK. And, obviously, it's my job to make fun of Eli at every opportunity. But I think for me, it's a big step because, all jokes aside, Eli Drake's a former world champion. And, if we're going to be honest for a second, he is one of the most charismatic guys in the business right now. He has an aura about him. He has a star quality about him. And I think you have to challenge yourself in the business to say, you know what? I'm going to step up to that level, and I'm going to show that I've got what it takes to compete at this level as well. So that's why I went right after him with the videos, because there's no other way to do it. I had to make my stamp on it and say, listen, I'm here, I'm establishing myself, and who better to go against than someone like Eli Drake, who's just got a phenomenal upside in the business. I'm not going to take anything away from him, but at the same time, there's definitely a competition between us. Everyone on that roster is fighting, scratching, and clawing for spots. But that is what you need. You need that competition on the roster. So, I love facing the absolute best of the best. And Eli Drake, as I say, is a former world champion. He's a former world champion for a reason. So basically, you're going to get to see a match that basically, in my opinion, is a pay-per-view main event quality match. That could be a world title match. That's 2 huge characters, two huge personas going against each other, and you're getting it at Wrestling Media Con. So that's a huge matchup for me. Also, I'm looking forward to, on the card, I'm looking forward to seeing Sami Callihan versus Jimmy Havoc. That's going to be insanity. Again, here's the thing about the Impact Wrestling roster. It is just absolutely stacked right now. Again, Sami Callihan is definitely someone who I want to get in the ring with. I think he's one of the top talents in the business today. As simple as that. I think he's one of the absolute top talents in the business today. Just a true professional, a main eventer, and he's rightfully so. He's someone that people are talking about right now. So that's a matchup that I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to seeing Lana Austin make her debut as well. I think she's one of the most underrated talents in the United Kingdom. I've always been wondering, why has she never had a shot with a major organization? And I'm glad to see that Impact Wrestling have recognized that and are giving her a shot against the Undead Bride as well. So I'm, I think that's a great move for Impact Wrestling as well. Let me have a think. Let me just have a... No, I know there's... So we've got... bear with me one quick second. Also, I think Matt Sydal, Rich Swann, and Trevor Lee as well. That's gonna just be super fast paced. I think the cool thing about and obviously who could forget, you've got Jody Flesh and Johnny, the Wonder Kid against LAX as well. That's going to be phenomenal. Because again, that's kind of like the yesteryear of British wrestling going against the current generation in Impact Wrestling, But it's just, again, with Jody Flesh and Johnny Storm, I remember watching them on Impact Wrestling back in the early 2000s. So to see them back, it's phenomenal. It's going to be an awesome show. It's going to be a huge moment for Impact as well to get back in the UK. That's what I'm super excited about.
Hey, Joe, thank you for your time. This is Jeff Martin from the High Spot Podcast and highspotpodcast.com. You were talking before about, having creativity and having, lesser reigns over there at Impact Wrestling. Do you think that's something that's important for wrestlers today, to maybe have more range of their character than maybe have something that's handed to them and be here's bullet points, or actually no, here's a script and read this off of that? Or do you think it's more beneficial for the wrestler to try to either fail or succeed on their own when they're out there in the ring with the fans?
I think that, I think that all talents are different, and that some talents are kind of, if you've got someone who's been doing it for, 20 years, who's at the top level, they're going to know exactly what they're going to want to say. Or, but at the end of the day, I think that everybody's kind of working together. And the cool thing is, I can, again, hand on heart, never yet has someone said to me, nah, not interested in hearing about that. Not one time. Whenever I've had an idea or something to pitch, it has been listened to from at all levels of the company. And all levels of the company communicate with all levels. It's not like things kind of get lost in this hierarchy. It is very easy to go and speak to the absolute top management about an idea that you have, and you're going to get a straight answer about whether that's going to work or whether that's not going to work. And having that, it's just even as simple as being able to have that level of communication, to know where you stand, but also to know that the very top management in the company are going to care and going to give up their time to help every single person from the main event to the opening match. You can go to anyone at any time and say, listen, I've got this idea. And that is just one of the coolest things about being a part of Impact Wrestling. So it really is a collaborative process. And like I say, when we were talking about the Toronto tapings there, I must have worked with 5 different agents over there, because the segments cross over. I must have worked with 5 different agents who all had things to add and advice to give me about the things that we're doing in my videos and things like that. So to have that care and attention from all levels, it's just the perfect way to spell success for the company, because we've got all this hungry talent with a wealth of experience backstage, and everybody's kind of steering in the same direction, but still there is that level, that it is that healthy competition where everybody wants the top spots, everybody wants to be the champion, and that is exactly the way it should be. You have cultivated something special in Impact Wrestling right now, and the world is our oyster if we keep going in this direction.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Joe, it's a perfect segue to a question from Andre Corbio of WrestlingWithWrestling.com. How was your experience with Grado taking in the sights and sounds of Toronto? Where did you go, and what did you boys do?
It was hilarious. We went on an open bus tour, and it was one of these things where, let me explain Grado to you. Grado he's one of the most charismatic people that I've met. But it's a very unique kind of charisma. He's just got one of these personalities that people gravitate to, and he can make anything entertaining. So the cool thing is that Grado and I have actually become friends over the last few months. Like, we'd always got on, but now we've become really good friends. So it just makes everything that we do, we just crack each other up even more than we were before. So it's a real kind of organic thing. And it's like, I'll give you an example. So we were on the open top bus, and it was like, it was kind of the people on the bus with us were, rightfully so, more interested in their open top bus tour of Toronto than they were about speaking to us. So we kind of just had a laugh with how cringy the situation was, that no one was responding to what we were doing. So, I tried to get a clap going on the bus. I tried to get people involved, and it was just, I think the clip that we put up got many thousands of hits just for the sheer cringe of us being there. But that was just an example of how we managed to turn something that was like, a pretty tough situation to funny, but it was cringy funny, So it was, that was an awesome experience. We just had the Twitch backpack on. We're going for a few hours, but also, like, again, it kind of bleeds into the backstage segments where we're just kind of going, well, why don't we try this and why don't we do this? And I mean, it's just every time that me and Grado we film the backstage segments and stuff like that, I'm trying my best not to laugh. And previously in my career, no one's been able to break me. Like, I'm always, completely stone-faced. I will get through it. I will not be the person that laughs. To the point where at the last tapings, I was like, thankfully they zoomed in when I was like laughing my ass off. And I was like, I'm going to get fired here because I can't stop laughing and wasting this time. But thankfully they didn't catch me. But that's how funny he is, man. It's like, I don't know how Impact Wrestling expects me to work with this guy and not just laugh from start to finish on camera. The guy's hilarious, so it's been awesome.
Hey Joe, this is Adik Fear from Israel, Iga Total. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. First of all, I want to say I'm a huge fan. I think all your parodies are awesome. Me and my girlfriend, when we go to road trips, we have a Joe Hendry playlist, and we listen it all the way. The Venga Boy boom on Jack Jester, our favorite, and she just wants to say hello, just for the information.
Hello.
As the new star of the heavyweight division, and you're facing Eli Drake on over at England, a former heavyweight champion, as you said. When can we see Joe Hendry go for the Impact World title against Austin Aries? And if you had the chance to cut a promo on Austin Aries, what do you have to say about him?
Okay, so I'll tackle each part of that. So basically, of course, it is my long-term goal to be the world champion in Impact Wrestling. I said that's what I said to the executives when we met in London. I was very frank about that. I said that's what my goal is. That's where I want to get to, and that to me that's a long-term goal. That one, I'm not. Basically, my goal right now in Impact Wrestling is wherever I am on the card is to deliver the absolute best, the absolute. To be the absolute best that I can be within whatever I'm doing on the show. Like I said, whether it be the opener or the main event, just to be the absolute best that I can be, deliver the highest quality performance. Long term, however, my goal is to be the champion in the company, and who better to face than Austin Aries? The guy's unbelievable. He's been a champion everywhere he's been. He's a phenomenal athlete. He's an experienced veteran. He's great on the mic, phenomenal in the ring. Like, I mean, he embodies what a world champion should be. So he's really set the standard for me of the level that you need to get to and the level that you need to keep striving to get to. You know, if you want to be the world champion in Impact Wrestling, that's the benchmark right there. And I take that very seriously indeed. And like I said, that's a long-term goal for me, but absolutely I see myself going up against Austin Aries. You know, I bring the legitimacy, I bring the charisma, and I think that's an exciting matchup that fans would love to see. However, if you think that I'm going to unveil what I would do for the video for facing Austin Aries, you're nuts. You know me, I'll never give it away. You'll have to wait till it happens. Thanks for asking.
Thank you very much, Joe Hendry.
Cheers. There we go. So prestigious.
The local hero.
No, so
Thank
prestigious
you.
now.
So prestigious.
Cheers,
thank you very much.
There we
thank
go.
You.
Thank you. Cheers.
You can keep going if you'd like. I'm sure Joe would like that.
So Joe, what are your expectations against Eli Drake?
Well, as I said, we've wrestled twice already. He's won once. I won one, and now it's time to see who's gonna win the trilogy. So I've faced him twice already. I know what to expect. He's a big, powerful, explosive dude. I think he's big. He's strong. I think I bring a quickness, and I think I have the technique advantage. So I know what my strategy is going to be going in.
Well, Joe, we'll wrap it up with that, but we do get one final question here from St. Remy, and I'm just going to throw it out there, and you can answer it as you'd like. St. Remy would like to know, want to grab a pint at the Royal Oak later?
I mean, I'm assuming that's a pub somewhere. I guess I'm going to Google the Royal Oak right now. I'm assuming there's probably about maybe 40 Royal Oaks in the UK. So they're going to have to be more specific. I'm counting away there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I've counted 90. Oh, wait, there's more. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. I've zoomed in to the point where you can see the whole of the UK, and there's already 30 Royal Oaks. So I'm going to need some more specific information next time.
Either that or a lot of drinking.
Say that again?
I said either that or a lot of drinking.
I'm an athlete, Ross. Come on now.
All right. Well, Joe, we'll wrap it up with that. I appreciate your time. Floor is open for a final thought.
Is this for me or for a final question from somewhere else?
No, from you.
Okay, for me. Well, I just want to thank everyone for joining today. I want to thank, I appreciate Impact giving me the opportunity to do the media call. And, again, that's something else I've been trusted with. I appreciate it. Basically, what I kind of want to get across to here is I think what people probably want to know from me is I've kind of touched on it already, but from a talent perspective, what it's like to work in Impact Wrestling. I hope I've given you guys a good kind of indication of what's going on and what we're trying to do here. And it really feels like something special is going on here. It just feels everything's moving in the right direction. It is, Impact Wrestling right now, it really is. It's a place for opportunity. I'm delighted that, when they did what an honor it is that they did a tour to the UK to find talent, and, I'm the person that they chose. That I can't put into words how much that means to me, how much it means to, my friends and my family to recognize this step in my career as well. And also thanks to Impact for, again, giving me the opportunity to walk Steve into the ring and to have that moment as well with him and his family. That was just unbelievable. And really, I hope that as a company we can do more stuff like that, because that's what it's about at the end of the day. As I say, we all kind of get lost within our own jobs and our own roles within wrestling, but at the end of the day, that is the impact, forgive the pun, that you can have on somebody else's life. So I really, again, before I go, I just want to let you know, I hope we can do more of that. I hope that, I can do more these music videos and songs to entertain you guys, for Impact to continue to deliver great matches. I don't think anyone can deny that Impact is getting better every single week, and the card. If we look at Slammiversary as well, it's just stacked top to bottom. This is the hot product now, folks, and I can confirm that from a talent standpoint as well. So I think I'm probably going to leave it at that, and I want to thank you all for your time. Thanks for listening to me blab on for however long it's been. I have been the prestigious one, Joe Hendry! And my neighbors are probably going to complain that, but, I'm not going to compromise what I'm doing for my neighbors, But anyway, there you have it. Thank you, folks.
Joe, thank you very much. Media, we'll talk to you again next week.
Q&A session is over. Goodbye.